And after that, it was a few weeks later, I went to the doctor and they examined me and they couldn't find a heartbeat. So I was constantly tested throughout this pregnancy, my love for this child, how real and how much I was willing to fight and go through for this child.
Right.
You see? And I did. I mean, I love her.
Had it ever occurred to you at any point in all of this to contact, were you aware of any supportive agencies that might have helped you through a difficult pregnancy and help you after until you were you aware of any groups in the area?
No, I wasn't, but I did join a prayer group counseling type thing where, women get together and it's kind of it's a counseling but more spiritually. And
oriented.
that definitely helped me out 100%.
So you were able to seek out supportive people.
Oh, definitely.
But a Birthright or a Pregnancy Help or any of the local agencies that are sort of in the business of counseling women with a crisis pregnancy, you weren't aware of them?
No, I don't, at the time, I don't think I needed it just because I had that group.
So you had a support to kind of fall back
Plus
on.
I had my mom.
Yeah. That's so fortunate because I know so many young people that will tell me they're going to be thrown out of their house if they come in and they're pregnant and that. So you were blessed.
Well, I was abandoned, you might as well say, by everybody. I did have my mom, but, my life was just so changed after that decision.
By that experience. So it kind of is a joke about pro-choice. If you choose against the baby, then people are with you, but if you choose for them, they kind of fell away. It's kind of an interesting kind of thing. Would you have said you had a personal relationship with God, or was it just...
I believe I always have
had a personal relationship with God.
I believe even, my mother would always say, oh, go to church, and I don't need to go to church. I can talk to God myself. So, I was in contact with him.
Right.
As far as when there was crisis going on in my life or whatever I needed to talk about, I would directly talk to God.
Yeah.
And he would directly talk to me.
So it sounds like since you already were communicating with him, he didn't have any reservations about communicating through this crisis with you.
Exactly.
Have you become a more religious person?
Well, it made me become pro-life.
Congratulations.
Of course. And it just changed everything. My whole outlook on life, how precious life is, how that, being pregnant and the whole pregnancy actually saved me, in a sense, just because I was into no good, and if I would have, gone the other way, it probably would have killed me.
What advice would you give to pro-life people like myself who are trying to make changes?
Keep it up.
That's very gratifying.
Keep up the prayers. Keep it up. It's obviously doing some good,
In the video, there were images of ultrasounds. Do you think that's something young people should be exposed to?
Definitely.
So they can see that reality?
Definitely. It makes it so much more real. When you're in school and they talk about the time of conception, they show you these little, the little sperms and the little cells, and they just show you these cells growing, and then, you're like, oh, yeah, and they don't show you the baby. They don't show you the fingers and the little heartbeat and the little eyes and the nose and all the features that are formed, that it's a life.
And that's what they need to know ahead of time.
And they need to know that it's a life.
So the prayer really sustained you, and making this video is your way of doing what? It's your way of
just looking back on it and seeing, wow, the road seemed so bad at the time, but it's just so beautiful now. Like, at the time, I couldn't see my life with a child, and now I can't see my life without one.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I can't picture a day without her. Or my son. It's just makes everything so complete now. But at the time, it was like, oh, God, you think of all the bad. Oh, my God, it's going to be so hard. And I like to look at the video and look back at exactly, wow, look at how far you've come.
Yeah.
So
it's a way of communicating that to people.
Definitely.
That things, when they look so terrible, need not end up that way.
Exactly.
It's extraordinary. It's extraordinary. It really is. It really is. No, I'm sure the video will accomplish that much. I'm sure it will do that.
I hope so.
Yeah. Amen? Take two?
There are many stories just like Lily's. Some have been told, and others are still buried deep within the soul. I know the pain of abortion. When I was young, single, in my rebellious years, I became pregnant. The doctor told me it was simply a blob of tissue, something that he could take care of on his lunch hour. So based on that information, I had the abortion. It wasn't until years later that I went to ultrasound school, and I saw a 9-week baby with fingers and toes jumping and moving that I realized for the first time the blobs of tissue that I thought I aborted were babies, my own babies, babies that now I possibly couldn't have. I was filled with guilt and shame, anger and rage over the lies that they told me. I suffered for years from that pain. And it wasn't until I asked God to forgive me that I was filled with His love and healed. And then I asked God to use me. And you know, He's empowered me with the mightiest tools of all, ultrasound. It's not my opinion. It's the scientific evidence of life. You can't debate it. And what a joy it is as I take these ultrasounds and show them to mothers and fathers and grandparents as they see their own babies, into schools as the teenagers see the truth. They want to know the truth. They deserve to know the truth. Just like Lily, women don't want to have abortions. It's natural for a mother to protect and nurture her children. Many of these women have no support from family members and are pressured from friends or maybe the father. 1/3 of this generation has not survived the Holocaust of abortion. So many people are wounded and hurt from abortion and are in need of healing. Jesus is the only source for that healing. His love for you does not depend on what you've done, but He loves you simply for who you are. He created you. And only Jesus can take our pain and our mistakes and use it to help others and help other broken hearts. Because we have the compassion because we've been there. Are you in pain? Do you need help? Have you had a previous abortion? Do you just need someone to talk to? Call the Nurturing Network at 1-800-TNN-4MOM. They will network you with your local support group. Remember the voice Lily heard? I will never give you more than you can handle. Just trust in God.